Welcome everyone to another week of Tech Talk. I'm your host Michael Armagon, and with us again this week is our co-host Vicquell.
Hello.
So, Vicky, we've had a recent update with iOS Beta 2, I think it is, right?
Yes, iOS 12 beta 2.
Right. So what's really happening with that? Like, I see that there are some changes, but like nothing overwhelming. But like,
Yeah, not really. They're more or less like fine tuning things that they changed earlier. So we all know that the iPad now have a more iPhone 10-ish look and navigation. So yeah, so they have like where you can pull down on the right hand side to basically pull up control center now, because it's no longer at the bottom. You're going to be using the gestures that's in the bottom to like navigate the iPad. I think, and I know like the biggest change that I've seen so far is probably the battery section, where they show you all your details, your battery usage. They now, in the first beta, the chart was okay, but now in the second beta, they enhanced the chart and they made it look different, so it's easier to understand now. So that's basically the main change that I've seen for me. I know, like I watched some videos and they're speaking about the whole trackpad thing. When you press and hold down on your phone, it pulls up this screen. Wish I don't do it. I'm gonna open up all.
hey, Mr. Juan.
So like when you press and hold on the keyboard, it opens up like this thing where you can move the cursor at different places.
Oh, you mean like swipe, kind of? Or like where you would drag your finger to put words and it links them together?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, let me just type something. Okay, so like I type this. And
move it up. There we go.
Okay, yeah. I type this and I could like press and hold here, and it's gonna move the cursor to where, and I could like do like that, and I could just like delete. Yeah. Like I know people were speaking about that, but I don't know. I don't see any. I'm not running beta, but like persons were saying that you can now do that. I know you can now do it on devices that doesn't have 3D touch, which I think 3D touch is a rip off, because it's like the third feature that is a supposedly 3D touch feature, and you can have it on devices that don't have 3D touch. So I know that first going off, only devices that 3D touch can do it. Now they're allowing it. Well, with the first beta, they're allowing it to work on devices that don't have 3D touch. Now I have no clue what they're speaking about in the beta 2, because it's working fine for me on iOS 11. So I'm not sure. I guess when I get my iPod Touch, I'm going to run the beta on that. But that's not happening until like next month. So I'll see exactly what they're speaking about then.
Okay. By the way, Mr. Juan, I'm glad this is becoming your favorite series of all time. That makes me a little happy, especially since you've been with us for a while now. But I know there were a few other changes, and they could be really, really small, like ones. Like I'm seeing here where they finally added like "Where's my iPhone" in Siri. So I'm guessing that's more for the HomePod and stuff like that, or maybe for like an iPad to find.
Maybe for the HomePod, for them to speak to their HomePod. I want them to speak on the HomePod, and they'd ask, "Where is my iPhone?" and it's like pen. So that may be what that's for.
Okay, but there's a lot of. Vicky spoke on more of the more pronounced ones. There is quite a few little like small details that I guess are like quality of life ones, like Face ID.
The blue, where they changed like the icon when you have I think it's Bluetooth headphones connected, like the icon is now gonna be blue and stays blue, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know they also updated. So I've been hearing that Face ID is now faster, like a little bit faster, Yeah,
The
on
animation is apparently a little bit faster.
yeah. So I'm actually intrigued to see Face ID second generation if it's actually like a software thing or like a hardware thing. Because like if they're speeding up FaceTime, I mean Face ID, so FaceTime, they're speeding up Face ID with just software. So I mean the second generation, is it just going to be like another software boost, or is it going to be like a hardware boost? So I know from the first beta that I watched, but then people will exaggerate. But for the first
Yeah.
beta, and I watched a video about it, it was, oh wow, it's so fast, almost as fast as Touch ID and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. Now I know there was some, like, I think they redesigned the battery usage charts as well for beta 2. I don't think it was like that big, but I
Yeah.
think they changed it just a slight little bit.
Yeah, they adjusted it a bit, which made it easier to read. Because I saw the difference, and the new one is so much easier to read compared to the first one that they had.
Okay. And I mean, I know we're going a little bit past iOS beta right now, but I think with watchOS, the new beta, I think they finally introduced the walkie-talkie.
The walkie-talkie feature, I think so. I feel like the YouTubers that I watch, if they don't emphasize on the watch. Like they always just focus on iOS. Like no one is really checked for macOS or watchOS, which people still want to see things about.
Thank you for that follow, Katie2. Awesome. But yeah, like, I don't know, little things like that. Personally, I thought, and maybe it's because I don't actually have one, but I would have thought that for the beta, the walkie-talkie would have been in the first one, since they like announced that from the beginning.
Yeah, like the walkie-talkie feature is probably the most exciting feature for watchOS. Like everything else is just like okay. For the walkie-talkie, I mean, I don't really need the walkie-talkie feature, but if you're gonna make it like the predominant feature,
Exactly.
then you guys need to be letting people test it out from beta 1.
Exactly my point. One's asking if you've never used an iPhone other than a phone other than an iPhone.
No, I've had a Sidekick. I ran through 2 Blackberries, 3 Android devices, and then I got iPhone 5C, which is the first iPhone I could have afford. And then I got a 6, and then now I have an 8.
He says you know everything. And then I know they did something with tvOS. I think the support for Dolby Atmos
The Dolby Atmos.
was available inside the settings now, I think.
I know people were complaining about it from the first beta where it wasn't available.
Yeah.
I feel like tvOS is another one that doesn't get any love.
Wow. And then there was nothing with macOS really that changed, so I'm not kind of surprised they pushed out another beta for it. I think it was more bug fixes, if anything. Or am I wrong with that?
I'm actually not sure.
Yeah.
So if they push out a beta for iOS, they probably push out a beta for everything all around. But I haven't seen any like major changes any like notification on major changes for macOS.
Fair enough.
I just focus on iOS, and it's so sad.
That's actually an interesting point. Like, they are focusing really heavy on iOS more so than anything.
iOS, yeah.
It's
like I'd have to scrub YouTube for certain YouTubers that would actually like focus on watchOS or like macOS. But everybody else is usually standard, iOS beta 2 or iOS 12 beta 2 XYZ changes, new features. Like they have them videos like clockwork, but with macOS and like watchOS, it's just like okay, like no one's really checked for them.
Interesting. I wonder what honestly, I'm not sure what they're doing. It's like they focus on that, and then they just have a subset of developers working on things like TV and watch and Mac, and then like
Yep.
every 3 or 4 years something new pops out.
Yep, because last year it wasn't no major change for Mac OS. I think the most exciting thing for WatchOS last year was probably the new watch faces. I think that was if I remember correctly. I think that was it.
I think so. Hey, Jay Brucifer. Yeah, you're here to troll now. So, fun thing about Jay Bruce, whenever he goes inside his streams and does his streams, I tend to troll him a little bit, playful banter, and goofing around. So, if you see him acting a little weird inside the chat, I guess it's a form of revenge. But last week we talked about Google Podcasts. Oh Lord. See, he's already starting with this leap thing. Last week we were talking about this Google Podcast stuff and how it was kind of like a shell app that would go inside of the Google app. And while it came out this week, and I've been testing it out along with a few other people as well, it's actually not bad. Like I've given it a shot. I think it's only on Android for right now, and there's talks about it going on iOS. But it doesn't feel like it's a shell application. It actually feels like it's its own app. Maybe that's the way how they wanted it to feel if that's the case. To be quite honest, I can't tell if it's not its own app because I don't know if you could see it, but it looks completely different. It doesn't actually go backwards into the Google app, though for whatever reason it shows stuff from Google Home, like right there. It has rain, so that's typically what I would have used for like if I wanted to listen to something to go to sleep, or just as something
It was like the rainforest music.
yeah, kind of like that white noise stuff that would play if I actually Google Home to do a routine to say that it's time to go to sleep. So quite literally that's something I could say to it, say, hey G, good night, and then it would start like turning on the music, it turn on the thing, ask me for an alarm, so on and so forth and whatnot. And so for whatever reason, when I installed it and opened it up, that was sitting there waiting for me. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be there. As for your question, Jay Bruce, is it a shell that has RSS feeds? For those who are unaware what RSS feeds are, essentially they are what podcasts use and blogs as well, so that web services can grab them and say like, here's a new article, or here's a new video, or here's a new podcast from whoever it is that you're following. And essentially, that's what this does. It curates or crawls the internet. And this is, I think, what they were starting to do with Google a while ago, where it was making like, if you searched for a website and the website had a podcast, it would give you the option to actually search for that, like to actually click on it and listen to their more recent podcast. Like I mentioned in the last stream, for whatever reason, that has disappeared from me. I don't know if that's happened to anyone else. But it seems like that's their way of getting more podcasts, and especially since Google Play Music, you actually cannot add podcasts to it other than what's already been added. You've been using Castbox. I have not even heard of that.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one either.
Like, I have been using, I know Spotify's had it, but like they've stopped adding stuff, so I haven't really been using it for podcasts. And I just started using Pocket Casts for it, but since Google Podcasts came out, I've actually been using it a little bit, and that's why I've got all these different podcasts up on his side here. And it actually looks pretty darn good, to be quite honest. It has top podcasts, trending podcasts, top podcasts in the community, top podcasts in society and culture, news and politics, sports and recreation, religion and spirituality, arts. And then once you start adding stuff, like people that you're interested in, it'll then give you, say, Top Podcast by Gimlet or Twit, or ABC Radio National, or BBC Radio Live, stuff like that. And, stuff that might be interesting to you. So that's interesting in itself. Like, I wasn't expecting all of this. So, for example, we'll go to the Tech Talk one, and you're probably not going to see it all that well, but it says Tech Talk right up at the top there. Right underneath it, it has my More Cookies name. Of course, I'm subscribed. And then it has a description and then a list of the links and episodes and whatnot. So if I wanted to, I can click on an episode and then it'll give me the information, well, the chance to play the episode or download it, and then some options to say mark as played, and then just basic information about that podcast itself. So for example, this is the episode 34.5 where I spoke to Amar Isaacs, who is the representative for the Bahamas Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Conference. So that's interesting. Also, no, podcast is not IPTV. IPTV stands for Internet Protocol Television. So that's pretty much watching TV over the internet. So much like how certain companies will allow you to stream different channels over the internet and watch them from your computer instead of your TV, that's essentially what this is. And wow, okay. So me doing my my cameras made my face all kind of a different color on the stream. But it is visually pleasing. One other thing that I liked, and so if I click on where it has my name, like right underneath the podcast, if I can get my finger to work it and click it. There we go. Okay. It will pick up on other podcasts from me, from More Cookies. So that's from PowerPress, which is the client I use. And then it gives me another result here, which is the Esports Wrap show, which, I mean, I haven't really done and it's currently on hiatus. But yeah, and if I don't see anything that's there, I can actually search the web for the artist name and it'll pull up all of relevant information about, well, whoever it is. So for example, you see my Facebook page and like episodes on YouTube and the website and Twitter and all these other places that you would, search for. Yeah, I have auto white balance on, I think. This is a lot of cookies. One, it is IPTV is a replacement for TV, like YouTube. Oh, shush, Jay Bruce. It's a mistake. Obviously, I look like a red tomato right now, though. I know inside your mind, Vicky, you're probably thinking Larry the lobster from SpongeBob.
Hey, I'm on this red shirt too.
Yeah. Gotta rep the red, right? But no, IPTV is a replacement for TV. YouTube has Google has a service called YouTube TV that they're rolling out slowly across the United States.
Everybody's trying to kill television.
Well, of course. Everyone's trying to kill cable and like that extra bill.
Well, that's cable.
Like, why do you? Well, people's whole thing is, why do you need cable if you can spend $9.99 or whatever it is? Like, I think it's like $11.99 now to stream a bunch of TV shows on Netflix.
Because not everything on television is on Netflix. Well, for us.
This is true. Though there are channels that so it's kind of weird. There are channels that will allow you to watch their videos online without a subscription to them. Like I think ABC does. I think it's CBS that allows you to do that if you're in the United States. And then there are channels that you would have to log in with they're like onto the website, log in with their subscription or with things like HBO, and then you can actually like watch this stuff there. But HBO is a premier thing. So yeah. And thank you, Jay Bruce. Thank you for calling me cute. I need this white thing to fix, but I'm not gonna tinker around my camera to try and fix it. Like, fix. Go back to being like not red. Nope, that's not gonna work. Anyway, so honestly, I think it's a really neat app from them. Podcasts mainly for the most part, though. Juan can't really compete with IPTV. Podcasts for the most part are audio based. There are podcasts that do go video. Twit, for example, is a group that has both audio and video for their shows. But you typically won't find that simply because of the sheer amount of data that it requires to both store it and stream it. So most people would opt into just audio. And so if you're going for TV, which is like H3 as well. H3 as well does that. Well, H3 as well does that. But yeah. So the next YouTube is Twitch. But seriously, a lot of people are actually considering Twitch as the next YouTube.
Not IGTV.
Oh Lord, don't get me started with IGTV, Vicky. IGTV is an interesting thing. It's its own app now. It's separate from Instagram, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And allows you to watch videos that's in portrait mode. Yes, thank you for that. So you essentially see it's not landscape like what we mostly see stuff on the internet. It's made strictly for mobile phones. On the basis, that mobile is the way of the future. If it will really kick off, I'm not sure. But Facebook's going, like, they're starting up their thing. They
I'm trying to start something on. Cheers.
They started their own game streaming section, and then they just recently started it up for game shows, like Jeopardy and stuff like that. Like if you want to do game shows, then you can go there and stream, and have your own section kind of thing and whatnot.
When they did it, then they did the online dating thing. It's too much. I'm trying to put too much now. Follow one website/app.
I don't get it. I mean, I kind of get it. They're trying to become a monopoly, but at the same time, don't become a monopoly.
This is why Facebook sucks and Twitter rules. I'm gonna put that as my unpopular opinion.
I am gonna leave that right there. But yeah, Vicky, so what's your thoughts on the Google Podcast app itself?
Well, from what you were showing, what you and Chris was showing us earlier. Well, one, I love the logo. Look, it's so nice. But yeah, from what you and Chris was showing me earlier, because apparently I don't own an Android device. So far, actually, it looks pretty nice. The UI is pretty decent. It's not like it's not cringe-worthy. Pull my eyes out. I'm waiting to see if it's going to be like it's going to be Google's answer to Apple Podcasts. Because, we've had a podcast app for a while.
This is true.
Very long time now. Yeah. So this is Google catching up with us having a podcast app. But so far, it looks pretty good. I'm glad that they didn't do it like how you originally said that they were going to do it last week. So that would have been like, why would I have this app on my phone if you're just going to redirect me to Google's homepage. Yes. In my humble opinion, Facebook.
Facebook is for your redneck uncle.
Redneck uncle.
Wow. I mean, granted, Facebook is becoming the bane of the internet slowly but surely. But a lot of people still use it to connect, just like Mom was saying. Like, Facebook connects people heart, and that is the truth. It does connect people, and that's how a lot of people still keep in contact, if not via Facebook itself, through Facebook Messenger at least. Because apparently, even if you deactivate your Facebook account, you can still use Facebook Messenger to talk to people.
Interesting.
Yep. I've actually had a few friends do that before, so that was interesting.
Well, no one speaks to me on Facebook, so
Aww.
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it isn't on Twitter, then I don't see it.
So is it that they don't speak to you on there, or is it that you don't check, so it doesn't matter if they speak to you on there?
Let's just say I don't connect with people on Facebook. So my profile is there. I would go on if like somebody mentions me. If someone asks me on Facebook or like tag me in something, then I'd go on to like get rid of the notification. And I'd end up scrolling down and seeing like a bunch of like pop culture related stuff, and then like just like share repost them, and that's just about it. No one really like comes to talk to me on Facebook. But I really more or less interact with my stuff, because I don't really post anything. I usually just reshare a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I've seen you do that. By the way, hi Aiden, D97. Welcome to the show. But yeah, I'm honestly glad they didn't go the way that people were talking about it.
Me as well. That would have been redundant to have an app to just send you to another app. Then it'd be like, why would I have this app on my phone?
J Bruce, JB.
I'm his favorite.
You are one of a few that have started Team Vicky on this this channel. I'm sitting humble and small.
Step your game up, eh?
Damn. Okay. I gotcha. I see what you're doing, JB. I see what you're doing. But to be honest, Vicky, Google actually did have a podcast app before. It was just built into Google Play Music. So it just so much like
there's like another section.
So essentially, kind of. So let me go into it right now if I can find it. Google Play Music. There we go. I'm just doing what you do to me. Ah ha 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 ha. You sound like Mandark from Dexter. Okay, so if you look right here, you kind of have to click onto the side, like the hamburger menu, and then it'll have right up on the side here, podcasts. So if you click on that, then it takes you to like a bunch of podcasts and whatnot that you could listen to, so on and so forth. And so I'll just click on my podcast. Oh, shows the actual like show logo along with the show details and then information about the show, and then it gives you an option to like click on information for it or just listen to it, which is happening now, but it's not playing because I have Do Not Disturb on, which is both a good and bad thing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So they separated that.
I think it was needed because people just weren't really using Google Play Music all that much, especially because it sucks. So they didn't really see. You seem surprised that I said it sucked.
No, I took you to say, it was It was okay. No, not even okay.
No,
Was it usable?
it was usable. It was usable. And before things really started to pick up other places, like Spotify upped its game, Pandora upped its game, and
This is Pandora. Oh man,
back
that used to
then,
be the,
Pandora.
honestly, that used to be the popping thing when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm. To be quite honest, it was Pandora, and then Google Play Music came out, and then that kind of beat it. And then Spotify came along, and then slowly upped its game as well, which then like it blew out Google Play Music. So yeah, it just like started lacking in features. The user interface wasn't as great compared to other ones, and so people just left it.
Right there, a bad UI could kill an app.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, people stop. I mean, there are still a lot of people that do use Google Play Music, but like the amount that did it before, no, there wasn't a need to. And yes, Jay Bruce, you do look like Mandark. Your hair's just not as slicked down.
That was a classic.
Yes, and then I think Mandark found a girlfriend. Did he?
You remember more than me? When Dexter Laboratory was on television, I was probably in elementary. Yeah, keep forgetting you little up there on age compared to me.
Don't worry, Vicky. You had your birthday just what, last week? You getting up there in age too.
I'm getting old.
You joining me and Chris and everyone else. Don't worry.
Slowly but surely.
But then there was something that made me really rethink things. Yeah, Jay Bruce is old as like all get out. Like he's older than me. Like he's crusty. Yeah, he's crusty. Just, no one. Dexter is not a new Siri. We're talking about Dexter's Laboratory. You know, the old Cartoon Network TV show where this kid genius and his special blonde yes, you're crusty. Comparatively. Though anyway, you know what? I'm not gonna bring in CJ from the last show. I'm not gonna make mention of that.
Why?
Jay Bruce is not as old as that guy.
Oh, I think I remember which guy he's talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, that guy believes that it's not so much age, it's more of a matter of mental age. And he does have a fair point with that, because if you consider yourself old, then you start to act old, and then you start to do less things, and so your body then starts to have some issues, and so on and so forth. So it kind of starts with the mind, which then affects the body. So in that aspect, yeah, he was making sense last week.
That episode of House when Cuddy thought she was sick, but in actuality it was her mind playing tricks on her and therefore made her body sick.
Exactly. Like there, and this is going like diverging hard, but like I remember a story from back when I was a teen. Like there was legitimately this kid who was sick. Used to imagine himself like inside of his own body, if that makes sense, like inside his cells and whatnot. In a fighter plane, killing off the bad, like the bacteria and the virus and stuff like that. And people were saying like he wasn't gonna like get cured, and then he got better, and so people were like, what the hell? And then that's when he said, you know, that's what he used to do, and so people were like, oh, so maybe it is a mind thing that can like really affect stuff.
I can believe that.
So yeah. Jay Bruce, your mental age, you're 12. I could believe that as well. But yes, so there was a topic that kind of came up, and it's been one that we've been talking about for a while now, and it's been over and around. It's pop-up cameras, essentially. And we saw one, and I'm gonna switch over so you guys can actually see what it is that I'm talking about. Essentially, Vivo, a company that's been revolutionizing the whole smartphone industry. Bless you.
Thank you.
With, you know, fingerprint scanners being built into the screens, and then they came up with this, which is like a camera that just kind of zips out from the top. And like this is interesting. I'm not gonna lie. But then Oppo came out with the Find X, which essentially is this.
Or how do I unlock the device? Oppo believes in the powerful of beautiful design, and that technology should only appear as a function. And the fact is, while taking photos is important, it only accounts for a small proportion of daily phone usage time of the average consumer. So, our solution is this. Take a look at the screen behind me. Stealth 3D camera. The Find X uses a sliding structure that completely disguises the camera within the phone. When not in use, the cameras are hidden, providing a sleek and uniform exterior. When activated, the camera pops up, much like the Find X is blinking its eye at you. This pop-up solution maintains the simple elegance of the phone. Let's have a look at this process again.
So,
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And thank you for that host, Jay Bruce, and also welcome to the Cyanide. But yeah, so we've got this this thing here that makes me wonder so heavily. Okay, well, thank you for stopping in, and hopefully I see you soon. Exactly, Deadly. That's exactly what I was going to say. This is creating more parts. And it doesn't matter if it's mechanized or motorized or whatever it is a moving part. And what are phones really going for nowadays? They're trying to get rid of moving parts. At least most of the high-end phones are. So
they're trying to get slimmer.
Exactly. But then you've got this. And then look at this like gap right up in here. Like, what happens if you drop your phone while that's sticking out?
No, like you don't have, it's going to be interesting to put a case on your phone because the part has to constantly move. So that's another thing. I'm interested to see if they're going to be selling cases for those. Oh no, you know what's going to happen? The case will probably have like a little opening at the top that would allow it to move in and out, up and down.
And you know what that's also going to cause a problem with? Waterproof cases. How are you going to do that? You quite literally can't, because those are meant to seal in your phone, and it does that by building it around the structure. If you've got a moving part that's quite literally sticking out of where the phone normally is, it's not going to be possible unless they like built in something that, and even then that doesn't work, because if they build up on top, it's going to have to move up, and so it has to have a space for the camera, which means when it's not up, there's this big hole that's just kind of there.
Yep.
I don't know how cases are going to work on this thing. And then for the Vivo one, that small thing, sure, they're showing like how quickly it comes up and quickly it comes down and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you open the camera up and that thing is just going to stick out. You drop that while you have the camera app open, or you're like FaceTime, like having a video conference on like WhatsApp or anything like that. That's your camera gone.
Well, everybody wants a bezel-less phone. We have to go through these trial and errors of the phone stage in order to get that. I'm really waiting to see what else people are going to come up with to not have a notch.
I keep saying build it under the screen as well and just use reflective technology to make it look like it's part of the screen. But Deadly Cyanide says, I could understand it was like pressed down on it for it to pop out, but since it's motorized, motors burn out and they're expensive, and it's a proprietary piece of technology that you can only get from repaired through the manufacturer, and that's true. Later on in this same like video conference, they mentioned that, you know, for the average person, from their research, opens up their phone about 100 times a day, and if you factor in taking pictures and unlocking your phone and stuff like, well, taking pictures and videos, it comes up to around 150 times. Based on that, they're saying that the motor will survive for about 5 years.
I'm going to give you a warranty on it. I'm going to give you a little warranty though.
But the question is the warranty going to be 5 years? For starters. Secondly, because I mean, all phones have a warranty. It's just how long they have it for.
Yeah, most people don't keep their phone for 5 years though.
Yeah. And then, like Deadly is saying, battery usage.
Battery usage.
This is where, like, you're not popping up on this. This is quite literally opening up to by itself using the battery to do it. It's completely different than, say, that one laptop where you can press down on it and it pops open from the keyboard to show your the camera, which kind of is weird within itself as well, because then you have this like view up your inside your nostrils from the laptop. Oh, you take a lot of pictures. Oh, sorry, no. On a heavy month, you take pictures 10 times.
10 times.
Okay.
I feel like me and you in the same boat. I don't take that much photos.
Well, see, I take a fair amount of photos. So this would be something that I would be considered worried about. Especially since there are times I just simply do drop my phone. Granted, most times it's not while I have the camera app open. But I don't trust myself for that with something like this. Especially since I've started to go caseless.
Oh, caseless challenge.
Yeah, caseless challenge. Obviously, I'm kind of failing that a little hardcore because then, like, there's that. On my,
do you at least have like a screen protector? You know, and be like Chris.
Nope, I don't have a screen protector.
You can be the next Chris.
I do need to get something for it though. Like I have the skin for it that I need to put on it, which I've kind of lost, so I'm gonna need to search for that. But yeah. And the size of this camera is nice. With this one from them, they have it where the entire thing comes up though, which then makes a segmentation between both the front and the back, both being glass, to shift this up with its extra speaker there as well. I don't know why that's there. If that is, that's also a speaker. So will that have to come up every time you want to play like surround sound? With the on which one? The Oppo or the Vivo? Like, I'm not sure which one exactly you're talking about. If it's the Vivo, I believe it actually has 2 cameras. And then this also will pop out if you want to have any pictures taken from the back, because it has both the front and back facing cameras. Which then creates another little issue in the fact that, you know, there's a reason why there is the slight bulge on camera phones. Which is to, you know, make sure it has the sensors and the stock and everything like that, so it can actually like show enough information. Yeah, we were talking about 2. This one's the Oppo, and then this one's the Vivo right here. That just kind of sticks out with this one little camera, and it really feels like if I just press on that hard enough, that's just going to crack. But yeah, the Oppo was the one with the dual 16 and then the 20 megapixel. I think they at one point said 21 somewhere. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't think this is the way we should be going with smartphone cameras at all. But what are the thoughts that you guys have about it? Vicky, what's your thoughts?
I think I basically said my thoughts already, but then at the same time, I realized that everybody's trying to get this bezel-less phone without having the typical notch, like the route that other smartphone companies have decided to go after Apple made it such a big to do, because Essential had it, but it wasn't that big until like Apple did it. So yeah, everybody's trying to get that bezel-less phone. I understand they're about to have a lot of interesting smartphone designs until they can accomplish that. I'm just interested in seeing what design people will come up with next.
Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with Deadly Cyanide on this. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, we're asking for thicker phones for more battery life, and we're getting stuff like this.
And that's y'all ask for too much. Everybody wants a bezel-less phone with a bigger battery. People gotta have trial and error to get that. Well, the bigger battery, like that's a fix that they can actually do. But the full bezel-less phone is what we trial and error until they figure that out.
I mean, we're fine with making the phones thicker, At least the majority of us are. To like hold more battery. Like, I don't know if Apple's actually considering that. Maybe that's the reason why they like did the two batteries connected to one another. So they can hold more space.
Battery?
Yeah.
And then they stack the logic boards instead of having it separate.
Mm-hmm. I mean, which is an interesting way of going about it. But like, that still doesn't have all that much battery life when you really think about it.
No. I think the 8 Plus battery life is actually longer than the 10 from what I've seen like a lot of people saying.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I actually do think it is. Especially when you consider the screen is a little smaller. Actually, no, the screen isn't. The 10 is a little smaller than the 8 Plus. Now I think about it.
And the 8 Plus.
Yeah, never mind with that. And I think that the 10 actually has a slightly bigger battery than the 8. So it's 8, 10, and then 8 Plus in battery life size.
Yeah. Well, my phone battery lasts pretty decent.
We're going to buy professional cameras sooner than we think. That's what I think when I see these tweaks in small camera sizes. I have to disagree. See, that's where I have to disagree. Because professional grade cameras still blow these things out of the water. Where, I mean, granted, yes, there are people that will still be using them. Comparatively, especially just because of how easy it is to move around with them. Compared to like lugging around a big DSLR camera.
Cameras.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
I prefer to take my phone with me than lugging a DSLR camera. Then again, I'm not trying to get robbed. So that's another thing.
But the quality that you can get on a DSLR camera is miles and miles above it, especially when you like go full frame and then you can just zoom in so much more. Also,
just like what I said on the other show, as smartphone cameras evolve, so is DSLR cameras.
Yep.
So smartphone cameras are trying to catch up to DSLR cameras, but every year when the smartphone cameras evolve, DSLR cameras evolve as well.
Also, I want to show this. Notice the dust that's already like creeping into the Oppo's Find X. Like, seriously? Do you really want this? This is some serious dust. And so you're gonna have to continuously clean it, otherwise it's gonna get up inside the motor and probably start causing problems with you actually being able to open up the phone. Well, opening up the phone, because for security wise, there's no fingerprint scanner on this thing. So the only way to really like secure your phone other than like a PIN or password is to use what they call O-face. Yeah, you heard that right. Their term is the O-face. Oh face. So that's just the Galaxy theme. Me, really, Juan? Really? How many things? I don't think that's it. Because I mean, they're already kind of going after Apple with this whole like X thing.
Yep, Facebook compresses photos hard. Oh man.
Yes, it does.
I hate uploading JPEGs on Facebook. You have to upload PNGs.
And even then, it's still gonna compress it. It's
the PNGs aren't as bad as the JPEGs.
This is true. This is completely true.
Even WhatsApp now, like it compresses. Like when you upload to status, when you upload to WhatsApp status, the images are compressed. The images get compressed as well.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think they're doing too much instead of working on something that is durable. They tried to touch on durable going on, the last 5 years with normal use, but you drop it. And the first thing when people actually get their hands on this? Drop test!
Yeah.
And then let's see how long it actually survives. Oh, actually, I do want to see this so bad. These drop tests on these two phones.
I want to see drop tests as well.
Because they're gonna drop test it with the camera out. Like they're gonna do one drop test with the camera inside, and then another drop test with the camera out, and that is gonna be so glorious. Because I have a feeling these are gonna fail so horribly. I mean, granted, these phones are great spec-wise. It's just what they're doing. And now that I think about it, I'm kind of worried about the whole fingerprint scanner being built inside the screen. Because then if you crack your screen...
You crack your screen.
Yeah. And I hope they don't go the way of like Apple, where you have to go into an official Apple repair store. Otherwise, if you do a third-party repair, then they try to lock you out and like break down like functionalities and stuff like that, and saying, oh, well, you went to a third-party place, so we're not going to allow you to do this, that, and the next. I had to throw a little Apple shade in here somewhere. Yeah, they have motion sensors. So for example, the Vivo has it inside here. It actually, I think it has it like up in here. And then with the Oppo, these are the different sensors over on this side. You can barely see them. I'll try to open them up a little bit bigger, so you can kind of get an idea. Actually, I took that off. So you can kind of get an idea that, that's one of the sensors, another sensor, and then these two other sensors right here. Whereas the Vivo has it like built up inside of here somewhere, for an almost bezel-less look. If it's not built inside the well, it can't be all built inside the camera. But yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. Like, if you're gonna be going bezel-less, essentially, you're gonna have to have really good warranty for starters. You're going to have a durable camera if you're gonna do this whole slide-out camera thing. That won't pop off if people put too much pressure on it. There has to be another way to secure your phone other than using the camera. And if you do break something, you're gonna have it where you can go to a third party. Don't be like Apple. Deadly Cyanide saying, why would they not build it in anyway? If the phone senses if it is in free fall, the camera pulls itself back in. That's a pretty good question.
That's a pretty smart idea. Yeah, it's the same thing.
It actually maybe could do that. I would be impressed if it did. If it actually uses the gyroscope to do that. That would, because it does seem like they can come in. Well, at least let me change this. What I'm saying. The Oppo Find X looks like it's quick enough to do that. Maybe. The Vivo, on the other hand, takes a while because it looks like it's actually motoring up, and it can take 1, 2, 3, about 3 seconds to go up, so probably 3 seconds to go down. That's within that time, that's gonna hit the ground and break more than likely. Whereas, you know, the Find X goes up pretty quickly.
You should be making the big bucks.
Yes, Deadly. That's why you should be making the big bucks. Sell your ideas. Maybe they'll buy them. But okay, Juan said they wanted to be original even though they have a lot of space to place 15 cameras. Juan, do not give them ideas. They're already coming up with 3 camera phones.
3 cameras.
Like, do not do this.
I think that is too much.
Like,
I felt like dual cameras was enough, but you know, it grew on me. But 3, that's too much.
I completely agree. Like, what's next? 4? Then, because you only really need to make 3D type photos, especially with bokeh effect and stuff like that. 3, I don't really know the reason why you're gonna be doing stuff like that unless like one's wide angle, one's telephoto, and then one's special, like special effects. And even then, that's more than what you need. The Google Pixel quite literally can do bokeh effects with one. And that's someone special sending me a message because I am on Do Not Disturb.
Oh.
Yeah, that's someone special sending me a message. But yeah, they can do it with one camera. So learn from that. Seriously, learn from this. You don't need 2. You don't need 2 for most things. You don't need 3. Yeah, I mean, okay, no. 2 is actually pretty good for telephoto. I'm not gonna lie.
Pretty good with the Bender cameras.
Yeah. Like, I think 2 is where you should cut it off.
But 3, nah. I think 3 is overkill.
They're at least saying 3rd camera would be for 3D.
For 3D.
Okay, fair enough. I kind of get that. But we're not there yet. Like, 3D technology for, like, augmented reality and stuff like that, I don't really see it being used more for, like, other people, otherwise, for people who are doing development and actually, like, building out 3D worlds and objects and stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense. For the average Joe, at least. Which, I mean, they would still get released and stuff like that, but price-wise, like, you're making this unnecessary for the general population, I guess you could say. But yeah, those are the topics we kind of wanted to talk on today. I don't know if you would have noticed during the stream, we've had some new animations for people who had followed and for hosting, stuff like that. We're slowly changing up our appearance on stream and in the videos, and you're gonna see some changes in our logo and like around the place, other places as well. We actually have a really great artist that's doing some work for us, so keep an eye out for stuff like that. And we also have someone working and dealing with our thumbnails. When she has a chance to and she's not napping. A little bit of shade there. But yeah, so keep an eye out for some visual improvements and changes in the stream and quality of life changes. As always, Tech Talk will be back next week, Thursday, at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, and Facebook, as well as Periscope. And if you do catch me throughout the week, I'll probably be playing some games. Sometimes you can jump in. Sometimes I'll just be playing either by myself or with, say, Chris or Dwan or a few other friends, depending on what the game is. And, yeah. Until next time, this is Michael Amorgan. Take care.
Yeah.